use them later, you can pop them at the front of your mat. And then just give yourself a little lay down. Keep those knees up. Maybe walk those feet out wide, let your knees pop together. Let those hands rest on the floor. Maybe you want to tuck the chin a little bit so you can find some comfort in the neck and head. And as you change your perception by laying on the ground, take a few minutes to arrive, a few minutes to maybe come into a little bit slower of a pace away from work and meetings and the computer. And take a moment to check in with your body from the head slowly past your temples and your jaw and your neck. As you move slowly through your body, checking in, just notice if there's any twinges, if there's any throbbing, any pulsing or itchiness. What little messages is your body sending you today? For me, the bottom of my foot is telling me I walked too far in the wrong shoes this morning. I'm feeling a little pinchy, but I'm just observing that. And then all together, let's exhale the air from our lungs. Inhale deep through your nose. And exhale long through the lungs again. In your mouth. And then zip up those lips and begin to move your breath just through your nose. Perhaps feeling as your breath gets bigger, can you feel that expansion in your chest and your ribs? Perhaps you can feel the breath in your back with us laying on the mat. And with your next exhale, let your head drop over to one side, stretching the neck. And then let gravity assist at the last little few millimeters. And then maybe you want to tuck that chin toward the shoulder and suddenly change that sensation. Allowing any aches and creaks to soften. And then slowly move your neck to the other side of the mat, dropping the chin the other way. Moving nice and slow. Letting gravity bring the chin down. Perhaps tilting the chin toward the shoulder. And letting your breath help soften any creaks and little stiffness that may be going on there. And then we'll bring our head back to center. You're going to reach your arms out straight, fingers reaching toward the toes, and then begin to lift the arms up toward the ceiling. So your arms from your shoulder to the tips of your fingers are one straight line, reaching toward the ceiling. And think about pulling your shoulder blades into the mat. Feel that broadening of your back, that widening as you pull those shoulder blades down. And then begin to lift your fingertips, lift your arm, lift your shoulders away from the mat. And feel how those outer parts of your shoulder and shoulder blade move away. So where do you feel the mat here? And then pull those shoulder blades back down. Noticing the different space on the mat where your body's connected more and less. And try that a few more times, maybe inhaling as you lift and exhaling as you bring those shoulders back. And just being really curious about those shoulders moving all by themselves. Then you can let those arms slow come down right by your sides again. And then we're going to bring those legs together. Bring those knees into the chest a little bit. Maybe you want to open those arms like a cactus or a T. And in this twist, because that's the beginning of class, I want you to think about squeezing those legs together and then begin to drop them toward the right, but actually keep them hovering. Don't let them drop all the way down today. So we're thinking belly button to spine, squeezing the legs together and letting them hover. Letting that core kick in, that side core kick in. We won't stay here long. Let's bring it back to center. Can you feel the low part of your back on the ground? And then let them move the other way. So they're probably not going very far, because you want to keep that belly button in your spine, that core engaged. Maybe shaking a little as you try and keep these legs up off the ground. And then come back to center. You can bring those feet down to the mat, feet right to the sides, and just take a moment to windshield wiper the legs, one side to the other. And maybe take a few deep breaths through your nose. We're still arriving into class. And then we're going to bring those knees back to center again. And this time I want you to think about squeeze your big toes together and widen your knees. So you're kind of making a diamond shape. Then we're going to take the arms and we're going to reach them toward our feet so they come on the inside of those knees. Maybe you want to flatten the palms like you were pushing an invisible ceiling away. And then we're going to lift the shoulders up just like we did. Tuck your chin, lift your head, and we're going to push our arms forward. So we're in an upside down crow. So your neck is tucked into your chest. You're pushing your shoulders up so you're rounded, upper back. And then can you squeeze your arms into your legs and your legs into your arms? And then come back down and relax. Drop those feet back down. And that can feel really strange and weird, so let's try that one more time because it's new. Let's bring those feet off the mat, knees off the mat. Think about bringing the big toes together and the knees out wide. Reach those arms forward toward the toes. You can flatten the palms like there's an invisible wall. And then tuck your head in to lift your head and chest off the ground. Reaching those shoulders away. Really pushing the shoulders away. And then squeeze arms into legs, legs into arms. Might feel a little shaking, some resistance here. Belly button to spine. Breathe. You want to make sure you're breathing. And then come back down. Drop those feet. Maybe you want to windshield wiper the knees again. You're holding your breath in that supine crow, that upside down crow. This is a great time to bring back that deep inhale. Long exhale. Then one more time, we're going to bring those knees up. Maybe you want to bring them apart this time a little bit. Bring the hands behind the knees. Begin to lift the head and chest, make yourself a little ball. And you have the option to have fun and try and rock yourself up. Or maybe you just want to sit yourself up. Then maybe you want to find your version of both. So bringing those legs into the air, reaching those hands forward. Just take a moment here. Let's flip over into tabletop. Spread those fingers wide, index fingers forward. Really feel those hands press into the ground. Knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. And begin to press the ground away with the hands. Curl the back, release the head and neck, and find your cat pose. And then exhale, drop your belly, feel your sit bones come up, bring your chest through, lift your head, finding your cow. And then moving to your own breath, your own space, do a few of those. Might help to visualize a cat or a cow as you move through those poses. I saw a cat just this morning that was a little scared, and whew, does it ever arch that back? Hugely. And then coming back to center, we're going to take the right foot and bring it up, kick the ceiling. So your foot is flexed, it's reaching for the ceiling, and your knee is bent. And then we're going to do a one-footed cat pose, or the knee coming in with your cat. So you're going to take this knee and you're going to curl it underneath, bringing it towards your chest, arch your back, drop your head. So your knee's coming toward your nose. And then exhale, go back to having that foot come up in the air. And then try that one more time. Start bringing that knee in, tucking it into the chest. Think about bringing it towards your nose, arching your back like a cat. And let's bring that up one more time. And set it down into tabletop. And try the other side. So flex the left foot, bend the knee, reach the foot for the air. And then let's bring that knee into the chest. That knee reaches for the nose. You make your cat back. And then exhale, lift that foot up. So it's like we're doing half the cat pose with also lifting our leg up. So getting used to crunching that knee into our chest, using those core muscles to pull the foot off the ground. Doing some stability because we're only moving one side. And let's come back to tabletop. Let's walk back to our knees just for a moment and take a moment to roll your wrists out. Make fists, add some movement to your joints. And let's go the other way. And then maybe you want to take your left hand, grab your right wrist, hold out your arm, and almost like you're going to try and reach your hand off your arm and then wiggle the fingers. So you're adding a little bit of extra space in that joint. And then take your right hand, grab your right wrist, thumb and index finger wrap around, pull the hand away, and then wiggle those fingers. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on our wrist today, and you can do these rolling, these finger wiggles anytime you want. So let's come back to tabletop. We're going to reach the right leg up one more time. So foot's bent, it's toward the ceiling. But this time, we're actually going to think about bringing that right knee to the outside of the right elbow. And then bring it up. So this might feel weird. It might actually make a little popping sound with your hips. My knee is not coming all the way to my elbow, but what I'm doing is I'm just reminding my hip it goes that way too. Let's bring it down. And let's try the left foot. So have that foot up toward the ceiling. And then think about bringing your knee out sideways to the outside of the left elbow. And just notice how different that feels, moving the hip a different way. And then we'll come back to our tabletop, tuck those toes, and find our way to down dog. First one of the noon hour. So maybe you want to bend one knee and then the other. Walk it out a little bit. Feel those hands push the mat away. Arms lengthen. Your head is going to drop. Your hips are going to come high. And then think about the weight coming down the back of the legs to those ankles. Really stretch it out here in the down dog. And then looking forward, keeping those hips high, let's baby step the feet behind the hands. Bend the knees, belly to thighs, let's forward fold, let the head hang. Grab opposite elbows and maybe you want to do a little bit of a sway. You can release those hands, maybe walk those feet hip width apart. You're going to put the left hand in the center, and you can always add one of those blocks to put the left hand underneath. You're going to bend the left knee and reach up toward the right, finding a twist. And you can always have your hand on the block or on the floor. And then exhale, let's bring the right hand down in the center, bend the right knee, twist up toward the right. And do a few of those to your own breath. Inhaling one way, exhaling the other. And with the top part of the twist, really open that arm up, almost like you're leaning against a wall to add that little extra bit of movement. And then after your last set, we're going to stop at the bottom. And we're going to curl all the way up when you're ready to a nice tall mountain. Rolling those shoulders back, head stacks, hands reach down. Just take a few moments to connect with that breath. Maybe notice if it's changed or if it's staying the same. Let me start a class. Exhale all the air from your lungs. Inhale deep. Exhale long. Inhale, sweep those arms up. You can keep here reaching tall, or maybe squeeze the glutes, move the hips forward, and lean into a little bit of a back bend. And then exhale, come on up, let's find a forward fold. And you're gonna bend the knees to place the hands on the floor. Again, perhaps you wanna add both blocks underneath your hands because you really wanna feel the hands connect with something solid. Now I want you to think about that cat back. Think about really pushing your hands into the blocks or into the ground and arching your back. And then lean forward onto your tiptoes and see if you can put more weight into your hands. Still thinking about that cat back. And then rock back down. And maybe try it a few more times. So press the ground away, think about that cat back, and then lean forward, come up on your tiptoes, press the ground away, and then come back on the heels. And then we're gonna bend our knees even more and step back to plank, and then find our down dog. Now in this move, we're going to use down dog to plank, but you're welcome to do the tabletop version we already did at the beginning of class. So let's bring up the right leg nice and high. And then as you inhale, bend the knee, bring it under the body, float forward into plank, and see if you can bring that knee towards your chin, towards your nose. Find your cat back. And then exhale, reach that leg back. And this time we're going to come forward, bring the knee to the outside of the right arm. And then reach that foot back. And this time we're going to bring it to the outside of the left arm, a little bit of a twist. You guys got this. Reach it back one more time. And now we get to step the hand to the outside of the right foot. Heel out, heel in, toes out. drop the back knee and find your high pigeon lunge. Again, maybe you want to take that block to give you a little bit of space here with those hands underneath. So my foot is on the outside of my hand, my toes are out, my heel is in. And today, we're going to keep working on those abductors. You're going to plant the hand on the ground of the block. And then instead of letting the knee just drop out like we normally do, we're going to squeeze that leg in to our arm. And that can feel a little bit different. So we're staying up high, squeezing the leg into the arm, and then release, let it fall out. Notice the difference. And then try it one more time. Squeeze that leg in. Actively squeeze it, work those weird muscles we don't use normally, and then let it go. Beautiful. Tuck that back toe. Step back to your version of down dog. And we're all going to drop to our knees, bring them wide, toes come together, and we'll find the child's pose before we move to the other side. So sit bones come to heels, walk those hands out long, rest our head on the ground. You can always stack those palms as well to give your head some support. Doing those three-legged down dogs to planks back and forth. Those used to be the hardest things I've ever experienced in yoga. So if you're out of breath, if you did one of them or two of them, then be happy today that that's what you did. And you will see progress the more you return to working on that strength and working on that movement. When you feel your breath is under control again, we're going to come out of that child's pose and find our down dog. So really checking in, those hands are squeezing the mat, the arms are pushing them away, your head's relaxed. And this time we're going to reach the left leg up. On an inhale, bend the knee, bring it under the body, float forward into plank, and you're bringing that knee toward your chin, towards your nose. Really push the ground away, and then reach that leg up and back. And then we're going to bring left knee, left elbow. Bring that leg up and back. And now it's time for the twist. Left knee, right elbow. Back one more time, whether you're doing this from down dog or tabletop. And then we're going to step to the outside of the left hand. Heel in, toes out. We're going to sit high in our pigeon. And then flatten the palms and think about squeezing that left leg into the left arm. Just like we did on our backs. And then release it, just let that leg hang out. And then when you're ready, be active again, squeeze that leg into the arm. Feel those muscles fire up. Now we're going to let that go. Tuck the back toe. We're going to step back to one more plank. And exhale our way all the way to the ground. Bringing those elbows forward underneath the shoulders, the forearms out front. You can walk those feet apart. Find your Sphinx pose. We've been doing a lot of curling with our backs today in class. So we just want to do the opposite for a moment. Press the elbows into the ground, broaden the chest. Really think about lifting up. And then can you also think about relaxing the thighs into the ground. Finding that breath. If you've been here before and you want to add a little fire with the Sphinx roll-ups, feeling free to do that. But today I'm just going to stretch out my back. Elbows on the ground, chest broad. Embracing that Egyptian statue in that hot desert. We're pretty hot here today, I think anywhere in the province. Then exhale, come all the way down. Hands by the chest, tuck the toes, feel the knees. Press yourself up to plank on the knees. Find your way to down dog one more time. And then however you want, we're gonna walk to the front of the mat into a forward fold. And then sweep those arms forward as we reach up high. And reach like you mean it. And then bring your hands down through heart center. Let them reach down by the sides. Close your eyes and recheck in with your mountain pose. How's your body warming up today? We're gonna walk those feet wide. Think toes out, heels in. We're doing a squat, so I go quite wide. Reaching those arms up high. And then exhale, slowly come into your squat. So knees out over those toes, dropping down, and finding a squat that works for you. Whether it's high or low, I want you to think straight spine. And if your elbows do fit inside your legs, maybe can you help them stretch your legs a little bit? Because maybe you want to rock a little bit from side to side. A little bit of a balance challenge for me there. We're going to open up those hips a little bit. And then we're going to plant those hands on the mat, step back our feet a little bit, and just take a moment in a little squat. Maybe you want to take on the knees while I talk. And we're going to play around with crow. You're totally warmed up for crow right now. And if you know it and just want to play with it, feel free. I'm going to walk through all of the little steps. So my feet are underneath my hips, and I'm bent in a little squat. I'm going to open my fingers quite wide, like I'm a little kid. I'm saying I'm 5. And those hands are going to go in front of me. I'm going to be moving my gaze from in between my hands to in front of my hands. Kind of like where I have this block here. My gaze is going to travel there. That's going to help me as I lean. So my hands are feeling the ground and pushing the ground. Come up on the toes, have your knees on the back of your upper arm, and then lean forward. Moving that gaze, feeling the pressure move into your hands. And then lean back. And you can stay with that lean forward, knees pressing into the back of the arms, and lean back for all of today if you choose. Maybe, if you want to add something, you're going to feel the ground, push the ground away, knees in the back of the arms, lean forward, and then maybe you want to pick up the right foot, almost like you're wanting to kick your butt. And then put that leg down. And then maybe pick up the other foot. Maybe you want to kick the back foot. And then come down. And then come back to your little squat. At any time, you can wiggle those hands, roll out the wrists. If you're done with all of this, you can enter a child's pose. If you want to try crow today, last version. For today, we're going to spread the fingers, come up on the tiptoes, arms on the back of the knees. You're going to lean forward, bend your arms, pick up one foot, take cat back, and then maybe play around with potty cake with the other foot until someday it decides to float too. And then come back, we're going to shake off all of that crow. Come down onto the knees of your sit bones, roll those shoulders back, and let's sit tall for a moment. And just observe your breath. Don't control it. Just notice it. Is it caught up in any feelings or emotions? Is it out of breath? Is it short? And once you recognize how that pose has affected your breath, maybe you want to actively choose to influence that breath by placing your hands on your belly. And seeing if your inhale can make your belly grow out like a balloon. And then let your exhale deflate that balloon. And if you're holding your breath in crow, if you were frustrated, if you were scared and it was going real fast, it may take a few breaths to get the balloon to grow. It may take a few breaths to be able to slow down that deflation of the balloon. But can you consciously change your breath to a longer, slower pace? If those shoulders creeped up to the ears, maybe you want to let those elbows and shoulders get heavy as you continue to feel that belly breath grow. You can do this belly breath on your back, on your knees, in crisscross applesauce. And then slowly, you can open those eyes, let your arms drop to the side. We're going to go into a simple twist. So if you're on your knees or you're cross-legged, you're going to take your right hand to your left knee. And then your left hand goes behind you and you're going to twist yourself over toward the left. It doesn't have to be very far, but you're just crossing that one arm over your body, the other arm's reaching back. You're sitting tall and you're maybe looking over that back shoulder. And then slowly come back to center. And now we're going to take the left hand to the left knee. The right hand begins to reach behind us. Maybe those fingers are tented or on a block. And you're going to encourage yourself to gently twist toward the right. Feeling that breath move. Then come back to center. And this time, just for something different, if you grabbed onto your knee with your palms down, maybe today, for the second round, you want to take the back of your right hand to the back of your left knee, and then reach around with your left hand. So what do you think of that? How does that subtle placement of the hand, from grabbing your knee to having the back of your palm pressing into the knee, how does that change the twist experience for you? And then we'll come back to center. And then take the back of your left palm to the back of your right leg. And then begin to twist open to that right side. Just noticing the subtle difference from grabbing the knee to putting downward pressure in the back of your palm. And then we'll unravel. We're going to reach those hands up like we mean it really high one more time. Let those fingers reach high. Because we did a lot of shoulder work today, pressing down, we're going to take our palms and flip them to the back. And then start to reach for the back of our neck or the back of the shoulder blades. The elbows are coming up. Maybe you want those elbows to hugging closer to your head. We're just reaching up and behind. And you may not be able to reach your neck or your shoulders. They might be floating there. What we're doing is we're reaching those arms up and back, whichever degree, because that's the opposite of what we were doing before. Finding your breath. And then we're going to bring those arms back up. Nice and high. Sweep them down beside you. And then moving mindfully, feeling every connection of your hand and foot with the mat, we're going to come onto our back body. So finding our way to where we started the class on our backs with the knees bent. We're going to walk those feet as wide as the mat and let the knees drop together. And to construct the rest. So a little bit of opposite work. With our crow, those knees were coming out to the sides. When we did the crow at the beginning of class on our backs. And the crow on our hands. So now we just want those hips to move a little inward. And then take those hands and reach them up to the sky, just like we did at the beginning. And you can keep your hands here and do those lifts and raises, or maybe you want to keep reaching those hands behind you. They don't have to touch the floor, they don't have to be in line with your head. I just want you to think straight arm, keep reaching those arms as you rotate those shoulders up. And when they don't want to rotate anymore, think about shrugging those shoulders up to the ears and pulling them down. Up to the ears, pulling them down. And then you're slowly going to cycle those arms back around to the ground. You can heel toe those feet in towards each other. Then we're going to bring those knees into the center, holding on to both of them. Hold on to the right shin or thigh and drop the left foot to the ground. And then we're going to take the right ankle and cross it over the left knee. Bring that right knee out to the side, making that figure 4. Thinking about that leg coming away from the body. And if you feel a stretch or sensation in your hip, in your glute here, I want you to stay and breathe. Maybe you want to open your arms to the side. And if you have room to grow today in this, then you can think about bringing your left foot off the ground to see if you can bring your leg closer to you. Then maybe you want to reach your hand around the thigh or the calf and melt back down. So I'm thinking everyone here has been in these classes for a while this year, so you should know your variation for figure 4 and reverse pigeon. If you are in a house with no air conditioning and it's very warm, your body may feel a bit flexible today because of that warmth, but I want you to be careful not to overstretch in that warmth. When we have warm yoga, hot yoga, and when it's 34 outside and you don't have air conditioning, we're definitely doing warm to hot yoga. You want to be aware of not overstretching. So if you're like, wow, this is really deep, is it a subtle change for you? Then I'd say maybe stay there. But it feels really dramatically different. Maybe come out of it just a little bit. Go a little bit closer to your normal range. Because that will probably feel better later in the day. And then you can slowly release that leg, bring the foot down. You're going to uncross that leg. And then bring the left knee into the chest. Wrap those hands around the shin or the thigh. Cross the left ankle over the left knee to find your figure 4. And then choosing to move to find your figure 4 or reverse pigeon option on this other side. Giving yourself the compassion and understanding that our bodies are not symmetrical. We're doing these exercises on both sides to help them become more symmetrical. This is the exercise that always reminds me to say that because my left knee does not move the same way as my right knee. So I usually have to add to my own compassion statement there that it is okay that my left side feels quite a bit different in this pose. Still helping, still moving my body. opening up those muscles, reminding my body all the ways we can move. I also have to go grocery shopping tonight, which involves usually reaching for much higher things. Which is why in my yoga classes I like to have people reach high and reach like you mean it, because I always need to be able to reach things off high shelves. So anytime I can make sure my shoulder remembers to move that way, I'm helping it out. And then slowly release that hand, bring your foot down to center and cross the leg. Open those arms to a great big cactus or a T. And then a relaxed twist this time. You can let those knees drop to one side. So at the beginning of class, we did a hover twist. We activated the core and kept the knees on purpose off the ground. This time we're gonna let go of that engagement. Maybe the knees separate. Maybe the shoulder floats. Maybe the knees don't make it all the way down either, and you wanna take a prop and stick it under your knee, a nice pillow to give it some support, so you can relax into this twist. And then watch your body on the exhale. Can you feel your gravity? Your body, you just want to drop a little bit more. Like a little millimeter each time you exhale. As your body starts to realize you don't need to do that super strength, that arm balancing, or that building strength and plank anymore, or the squeezing of the glutes, it can just let that all go. And then we'll bring those knees back to center, gaze to center, and find that relaxed twist on the other side. Again, observing the relationship between your exhale and the release of your muscles. Sometimes that interaction seems really obvious, and other times it's a little bit more of a struggle. But I believe that by watching the connection of the long exhale to muscle release, you're encouraging it, so you're helping it along, letting those muscles know they've done a good job today. And then we'll bring those knees back to center, gaze to center. And you're going to find your choice of final rest today. So that could be reaching those heels out to the sides of the mat. It could be keeping the knees bent. Again, whatever feels nice on your low back, a place where you can relax and release. Sweep those arms down like a snow angel. Flip those palms so the back touches the ground. Usually that's off the mat, so you notice a temperature on your floor. Maybe it feels cool in the hot house. Perhaps you want to subtly tuck your chin into your chest, lift the head, and replace it back down to find a comfortable spot. And all together, I want you to exhale all the air through the mouth from your lungs. Inhale deep through the nose. Hold the top, and then slowly exhale through the mouth. And notice if there's any encouragement in the muscles to release that engagement. Maybe you want to try that 1 or 2 more times. We asked a lot of our bodies today, either in the heat of the day or the coldness of air conditioning. We did a lot of upper body strength building and core building today. So this is our time to tell our bodies, thank you for letting me practice becoming stronger, becoming more stable, becoming used to trying hard things again. Whatever your experience was today, say thank you to you for showing up on your mat and putting the time into your health. And when you're ready to move again, you can begin to wiggle those toes, and wiggle those fingers. Reach those arms up overhead, stretching fingertips to toes. Great big noon hour stretch. And then release that down. Touching one foot on the mat. And then on the other. Let's roll on over to one side. Arm as a pillow. And I want you to spend a moment here thinking, how am I going to continue my health and fitness in the summer? Sass Polly has a bunch of free videos online. Maybe you like the unstructuredness of biking or walking, hiking up hills, swimming at the lake. But what is one or two movement habits you can do this summer? And then take that top hand and push it into the ground. Slowly come up to a comfy seat. Rolling those shoulders back, sitting nice and tall. Take a moment to feel how today's class affected change, whether that's making your muscles tired or more open or more space between your thoughts. Or do things feel pretty similar? Sometimes that happens to me too. And then we'll bring our hands together, heart center, tuck our chin into chest. And we'll end with a deep inhale and a long exhale. That brings us to the end of class. So thank you for joining me today in our Thursday class. And thank you for all year coming to classes. This is the end of the live fitness season. So there's a few things I want to remind you of. Is all of these classes are on Sass Polly Tech's fitness channel, and you can replay them for free whenever you want. Feel free to like and add comments all summer so we can see them. You can do all of those movement breaks outside. You can hike, you can walk, you can bike, you can move. All of those wonderful things we can do in summer, we can't do in winter. And if you want to follow what I do in summer, you can check out my website at breathemovegrow.ca. And then Sass Polly will be back in the fall, in September, I believe. Dwayne, is that right? Yes, in September we will be back with classes. I think we'll have in-person classes, maybe. So I hope you have a lovely summer. If you have any questions about your summer fitness, summer wellness, reach out to the wellness team and they can help you out. And have a lovely summertime.